Welcome, Yarka. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you very much for having me, Parul. It's been amazing. No, thank you very much.
Well, I have been really looking forward to this session because taxes, accounting, bookkeeping is something I don't do for myself. I have someone who helps me out. So I'm really looking forward to this session with you and understand a few basics because it's important to understand the basics and the foundation as a business owner. So let's do this. We are going to talk about doing your tax return as early as June is the new sexy. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I did go to a networking event a while back, probably about a year ago now, and they said, sex sells, and I'm just like, well, how can I apply that to accounts? Because accounting, there is this myth about accounting being boring and just a chore. People don't want to do that. So I'm trying to kind of lift up the mood a little bit to make it more approachable. I am not going to, be presenting any underwear, or don't worry about that. But but I am trying to bust the myth of accountants being kind of very introverted and not talking and not communicative. So what I am trying to do, my mission, is to make it a bit more approachable, and just to show I'm approachable. I can talk for China, okay? And you're not gonna get any holding back with me. You ask, I answer. As simple as that.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let me ask you a simple question, Yarka. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What is your story?
Oh, wow, my story. I would probably go back to, I'll try and do a shortcut, but in a nutshell. So I pretty much left my country, Czech Republic, in 2002. And it was pretty much, I originally came to England to learn English. I was going to come for 6 months. It's been 19 years now. So I'm here for good now. And I only came with £60 in the pocket. Um, how I got to do bookkeeping, how to do accounts, it was really my journey when I started university, and I did a work placement as part of my degree, and the work placement was in language centers, which is very random, but it was part of my degree. So I kind of worked my way up from reception to potentially being the school administrator. And then I had to go back to uni to finish my degree. And I said, look, there is a bookkeeping role opening up. Are you interested? And I'm like, my teacher told me do not touch bookkeeping. That's what my professor said before I left Czech. Do not do accounts. But I was like, look, let's give it a go and let's see how I get on. And I really got into it. I started living it, breathing it. I loved I started looking forward to going to work. You know, Hands up, there are people who absolutely hate numbers, and I totally get it. But that's why you go to people who love it to help you out.
Mm.
So I then did the bookkeeping, did my qualifications, got myself licensed, and I've actually started my own bookkeeping practice or accountancy practice called Red Monkey Accounting. And it was going really, really well. And my mission was really helping those sole traders, those startup limited companies, to actually make it more approachable. Because once you are fairly established business, there is no other way but getting an accountant on board. You can't do it on your own anymore. And my mission was really to help people like that, because I know when I first started my Red Monkey accounting practice, it was really hard to the learning curve of running your own business. You haven't started doing coaching because you like to do accounts. Okay, you started because you like to talk to people and help them to progress in their business. So you suddenly realize that you wear all those other hats: accounts, IT, marketing, sales, all of that, and juggling it together, social media and all of that. And I found it incredibly hard learning about social media. So what's chore for me might be an absolute god bless for you. And that's why I then kind of started doing Action Your Accounts. So Action Your Accounts is something that's your accountant on call. I'll be your accountant on call. And the way it works, the mission of that is really helping people who don't want accountant, they want to do it themselves, but we all know they need the support the most. if you know anybody who doesn't or hasn't called or talked to an accountant, talk to an accountant. Just call them. It's not going to cost you anything. Just call them. And my story really behind all of this is coming from, coming to the UK with 60 quid in a pocket to running a successful practice. What I should also say is part of the story is I had to put Red Monkey Accounting on hold a little bit, because when COVID hit, it was doing absolutely fine. But then I've got 2 little boys as well, 2.5 and 4.5, and they were out of nursery. And it was just, all the parents here, hands down, who had to do homeschooling. I didn't have to do any of that, but having them at home and looking after them and running my own business, it was hard, very hard. And then I teamed up with another accountant, Stepping Stones Accountancy, where we do all the tax returns, year-end accounts, and you name it, that's what we do. So I don't know if that kind of covers my story. There's probably more to my story, but I came here with 60 quid in a pocket and a backpack on my back.
And look where you have reached today.
I feel sometimes I pat myself on the back, just really thinking, there are people who want to do that and don't feel maybe not brave enough, or they don't know the how. And I just went and did it. And you just sometimes stop overthink things, just stop even thinking about it, just go and do it. If you want to do it, go and do it, whatever it is.
I love that message. The best way is to find out a little and then just go ahead and do it. Because if we try and find out everything about something, the chances are we'll have a lot of that fear kicking in and we may never really take action.
And I think one other message I have is about making things perfect. I think I still am partly a perfectionist. I remember I started off wanting to start accounts before I did, but I was trying to make everything perfect. I wanted all the systems in place. I wanted all the marketing in place. I wanted to know exactly what I'm posting and when. And then I just realized it was like 3 years down the line and I still haven't started. And then I just woke up one day and I was just like, right, I just need to go and do it and just figure out the rest of it as I go. And it worked. And it got me where I am, and it's brilliant.
Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. If we wait for all our ducks to be in a row, it'll take forever.
Exactly.
So well done on this beautiful journey. You came to the UK for 6 months. You are here for good now. You said no,
years, oh
never, bookkeeping, never. And look at you.
Yeah, I think if she had known back then that is exactly what I end up doing, yeah, weird how the universe kind of worked out.
Yes. So Yarka, thank you for sharing that inspiring story and that special message that if you want to do something, don't overthink it, don't try and make it perfect, just go ahead and do it. That's a message that everybody can benefit from. I can benefit from it, and I'll remember it. Yeah, this message is going to stay with me. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. So help us a little bit with understanding the tax return. Most of the audience here are coaches and small business owners. So let's talk a little bit about doing your tax return as early as June is the new sexy. So why don't you start by giving us an overall overview of what needs to be done in a business as far as tax returns are concerned?
Okay, tax returns. I'm not going to do what they do in Reels, like right here, there, and there, and there, and there. Okay, forget it. There are few basics that work, I think, across the, wherever you are in the world. So talking about making bookkeeping or tax returns sexy, I think, first of all, you need to create an ambience. Okay, so whether it's a smell, whether it's music, if you want, one of them perfumed sticks in the glass next to you, make it an enjoyable environment. Okay. I, for example, believe or not, when I do VAT for people, I put classical music on and it's banging into my ear. Okay. If I do tax returns, it's the hardcore techno. Okay. That works for me. It just kind of keeps me going. Just Okay, so if that works for you, do that. One other thing I'd say, stationery. This might not look much, but I absolutely love this pen. It's so easily, you can write with it absolutely, utterly easily, and it just flows. Okay, one other thing, cup. This is my favorite cup. So if
It's
you have,
gorgeous.
it's a bit worn already because I've been using it for years now. I love it. So, make it, and I've got like a little notepad in the shape of a pig. I haven't got it on me right now, but, make the environment as enjoyable as possible so you actually look forward to doing it. That would be my number one tip, I think. Before you even think about logins or anything like that, create it an enjoyable moment. So you've got your bottle of water, you've got your snacks, you've got your cup of tea, you've got some, very good, stationery that you really enjoy. And, one other thing, just Post-its. If that's what rocks your world, colorful Post-its totally does it for me. So stationery would be my number one thing. To make it more enjoyable. And I think the first tips to make it as smooth as possible to do your tax return is to have an accountancy software. Or you might have just a spreadsheet. You either have a spreadsheet or you have accountancy software. There's a lot of desktop ones and there's lots of online softwares as well. If you are UK based, I can, more than happy to send you a bookkeeping tool that I use, and I for all my clients. One thing to remember is April 2023, there is a little change in the accountancy system. You'll need to start using some sort of online-based program to file your tax returns and do quarterly mini returns. It's called Making Tax Digital. That's something that HMRC decided on years ago, and now they were going to apply it in April this year, but because of COVID, they extended it to April 2023. So something to bear in mind. You want some sort of accountancy software which you keep updating regularly. Don't wait for the year end. Okay, do it regularly. Okay, that leads me to number one: routine. Give yourself a routine. Do it monthly. I usually tell to all my kind of startup clients, start yourself, easy. Do it monthly. If you want to do it weekly, do it weekly. But put it in your calendar. Say every Monday, 2:00, I'm going to sit down and do my bookkeeping. Okay, it doesn't have to be much. Just have your receipts next to you, have your income, on your bank, have your bank account open, and just make sure that every transaction in your bank statement has been transferred and put in more detail into your program, whether it's spreadsheet or accountancy software. With the accountancy software, you can now link the bank with it, so it's a bit easier, a lot easier. So sometimes, it might be worth to actually investing into accountancy software. Yeah, don't forget about that.
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah, of course.
So if I'm somebody who's hiring an accountant to do it for me, to do all the accounting work for me, do I still need an accounting software for myself?
Absolutely.
Oh,
you can have an accountancy software that you can both have access to. That's the best. For those in UK, there is quite a few. I'll recommend having a look at QuickBooks. There is a Xero, Free Agent. There is all sorts of other ones. There are some free ones as well. We predominantly work with QuickBooks, and there is one license, and you can use it yourself as a client, as the user, and your accountant. So when it comes to year-end accounts, doing your tax return, or you are a limited company, or you can do it on a monthly basis, depending what your package is. You can both having it, being on a phone and have a look at it, so you know exactly what you're talking about. So you don't have to have, in-person meetings, and just makes it that little bit easier and smoother as well, to kind of, talk about the same things, and ask questions and answers straight then and there.
okay.
Even if you have a spreadsheet, you can share the screen. The accountant needs something to do the year-end accounts. So whether it's a spreadsheet or a software, you still need something in place in order to do the tax return. Because it's no longer good enough to just have one lump sum for your tax, for your income, and one lump sum for your expenses. it needs to be somehow categorized and listed. Because if HMRC ever comes, and it's very unlikely for sole traders, for small companies, but if they ever come and they say, look, on your tax return, you said your income is 40 grand. Where did that come from? And you can't just show them your bank statement. It's not good enough. You need to have traces of your invoices or receipts or some sort of paper trail, date, name, amount, and what it was for, what the service was for, what they paid you for. And it's the same for your expenses. If they come, oh, you're claiming 5 grand for a coaching program. 5 grand, that's a lot of money. Oh, there is, you show them the invoice, you show them it came out of your bank account. They might even come and say, we need to talk to that person. That you just need some sort of backup. And if you haven't got anything in place as a backup, you're lost. It will be really hard.
Okay, so what we are saying here is we've got to have all the paperwork, whether it is digital or it is hard copies, to be able to corroborate our expenses as well as income.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Must every sale that we make be accompanied by an invoice that goes to the client or the customer?
Well, you can have, you need something, but it doesn't necessarily have to be sent to the client. But there needs to be an option. So if they ask for it, you need to be able to send them something.
Okay.
Because I know that a lot of clients, I had a client and she was doing, wax. And you're not going to sit there and make an invoice for every £3 that you sell. Her turnover is 2 million now. So that's a lot of invoices. So obviously she's got systems in place, and then you've got PayPal as well, and you've got all those systems kind of creating those sort of receipts for you, and that's fine. So they're automatically sent to the client. But if you don't have necessarily systems to send receipts, invoices directly to the client, you need to have some sort of option for them to actually get it if they want it. Because if they're a business and they use it for business, say they are a hypnotherapist and they're using the wax to create an ambient, so they can put it into their expenses. So they need some sort of document to say, I've paid this and I've spent it on wax. So there needs to be an option for them to get something.
Okay. Yeah. So would you say things such as when you use a shopping cart and a tax document gets generated, or when a confirmation email goes and says, this is what you have bought, are they enough evidences?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say save that email as a PDF in your emails. I am not exaggerating. This is not something, that I do. I think every business owner should do that. And the reason I say that is your email is potentially not your domain. It's not your thing, because you're paying someone for the space. Okay.
Right.
But whereas your hard drive is yours. So if anything goes wrong with your email and you lose access to your email, HMRC is not interested.
Yeah.
And it's probably the same in, any other country, whether we're talking about the US or Spain. They are not interested. The authorities, they don't need, they don't care. So make sure that you back up all your data, all your invoices onto your hard drive, or print it. I'd say, to save the forest, I say, don't worry about printing it, but just save it as a PDF at least. So it sits in your hard drive in a digital way. I think that would be probably the best way.
Yeah, that's such a powerful point you make. So far we have discussed the ambience, sexy stationery,
yes.
and having all the documentation. And the point that you make, Yarka, about having all this documentation in place, because the domain is not really our space, but our hard drive is our space. That's so powerful. I remember having a similar conversation a couple of years ago with my marketing coach. And so I have these e-learning programs, video-based programs. And my question to her was, why should I invest in a website and set up all my programs on my website when I can do it for free on a Facebook group under units? And she said, that's because Facebook is not yours. If they shut you down one day, what will you do?
Yeah.
And that was a message that stayed with me. And so I went and got my website designed accordingly, and all my content, all my copyrighted content is on the website. So I can see how the same concept applies to accounting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm.
Don't be fooled about, when you've got all those logins, you've got PayPal, StreamYard, Streamline, Zoom, and you can go into the billing section, you can see all your bills. Download it. Do me a favor, download it. With your PayPal, you get monthly statements or weekly statements. Download it, save it in your hard drive.
Oh,
You
okay.
will thank me later, but yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So we had a little chat about bookkeeping tools. I did mention about routine. What other thing? Logins. I think a lot of people, there's so many logins these days. You've got login for Zoom, you've got login for Facebook, for your LinkedIn. I mean, it's not smart to have the same login for all those things, but I think a lot of people do that. When it comes to HMRC Gateway, it's a unique login. It's not something that you can duplicate in other places. And there's a reason for that, obviously. It needs to be secure. But you want to save that somewhere. So when you need to get in your account, your HMRC account, you need to have it somewhere handy. So whether you've got a printout somewhere and leave it on the desk in a specific place, or whether you took a picture of it, it's somewhere in your phone, or some people I know that they put it into their contacts under HMRC and save it there, just somewhere so it's safe and it's handy for you to actually get it when you need it. Because the last thing you want is to have your tool, have your tax return all have your income and expenses already, and then you sit there and then you spend a week figuring out how to actually get in. Okay, it can't be easy. I mean, I've been there at the very, very beginning before I figured this all out. And I'm like, wow, becoming an accountant, you suddenly end up with your personal login, your login as an agent, and then for VAT purposes, there is another login. So you need to kind of have all of this in place, but make sure that you have it somewhere handy. It doesn't have to be memorable because the number is a long number. I think it's 16 digit. So it's a long, long number, and the password, but just have it somewhere handy to make it that little bit easier.
Mm. Yeah, you are so right about all of us having too many logins. Yeah, it can be hard remembering everything and still being able to manage the security. Yeah, it's a zoo out there.
No, absolutely, it is. It's crazy. I mean, you've got all of those softwares where you can save your logins, and it's very clever. But when you've got a new one, especially like HMRC, if you've never done it before and you don't need to log in once a year, just saying.
Yeah.
My other tip would be have a separate bank account. Being a sole trader, and I'm not quite sure whether that applies for other countries, but being in the UK, the only time you must have a business bank account is when you are a limited company. Okay. When I talk about business bank account, I'm talking about the difference between personal and business bank account when you talk to the banks. Okay, that's just the terminology that they work by. You could have, as a sole trader, you could have personal bank account that you use for business purposes only, which is the one I'm suggesting, because you want to keep your business and personal finances separate. So it can be potentially with a different bank. So if you bank with NatWest or Santander or HSBC or Tide, Sterling is quite popular at the moment. Just have a separate bank account. If you are a sole trader, separate personal bank account that you use for business only. And one other thing, open up a separate saving account alongside this bank account. Carol, do you have a feeling as to what that separate saving account might be for?
Oh, is it for our personal expenses?
No. That saving account would be, I'm just checking. No, it wasn't a test. Sorry, I put you on the spot there.
Well, I'll tell you afterwards when we finish how many of the points that you are sharing today I actually do, and
Oh.
you'll be thrilled. You'll be thrilled to know how many marks I gained on this exam. So go on, tell us.
The reason I want you to open a separate saving account alongside your business bank or personal bank account used for business only is to put 30% of your profits into. And that is to be ready for your tax return when it comes to it. Okay. 30% is because 20% are assuming that you are a basic taxpayer. If you are a higher taxpayer, so your profits are higher than 50,000, then you want 40, 50%. Then you want to be putting 50% away. The reason it's 30 is 20% is the higher taxpayer rate, 20% tax, plus the additional 10% is for national insurance.
Mm-hmm.
There are some thresholds that you need to obey by. So things like, 9,500 at the moment is national insurance threshold that's free of national insurance. And then the other threshold is 12,500, which is tax-free allowance. But make sure that you take that 30% away as soon as you start, from day one. Okay, so when you do your tax return, when you do your bookkeeping on monthly basis, have a look at your income, your expenses, have a look what your monthly profit is, calculate 30%, bang, saving. Put it away right away and don't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
That's your money that you will need to cover your tax bill. If you are a limited company, you will need 19% for your corporation tax. So you could save that account for your corporation tax. If you are VAT registered as well, then you'll need to be putting monthly 20% away for your VAT. Okay. You should be able to open as many saving accounts as you need to keep it separate. If you have an accountancy software, you could separate it within the accountancy software to give you how much is in each pot. Okay. But that apart, right now, I want you to, if you haven't got a saving account alongside of your business bank account, do it now. Before this life ends, do it now. It's easy, that's simple, because you'll need it.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of clients that come to me and say, wow, oh, yeah, I haven't got that money. I had a client who we left the tax return later than we should have. So it was January, and I don't know what she was expecting, but the bill came to about £3,000. She didn't have that money, so she had to call HMRC, admit the fact that the bill is higher than what she expected, and she had to kind of agree on a payment plan with them. That just creates a whole new, it just opens up a can of worms. If she keeps paying, absolutely fine, and I know this particular client is going to pay it off and she'll be fine. But you are suddenly on HMRC's radar. Okay, and you don't want that. You don't want HMRC to ever knock on your door. That's never a good news. Never a good news. But just make sure that you've got that pot there ready. So when you do your tax return, it's £3,000, and you go, oh, I've got £4,000 in a saving account. Brilliant. I can go on I can go on a shopping spree. Okay, because you've got extra £1,000, or you can just keep it for the next year. Just make sure you've got some money saved up.
Yeah. So we are talking about having a business bank account or a bank account that is used only for business purposes. And obviously people will have a personal account. And in addition to that, we are talking about having a savings account that will have the money to cover whatever taxes we are liable for.
Exactly. Okay. It just makes the process of doing your own tax return that much smoother, even if your accountant does it for you. Just having those things in place. So we covered bank accounts. Have a separate bank account for your businesses. If you are a limited company, you must have a business bank account that's in your business name.
Yeah.
Okay, that's by law. There is no way around it. If you haven't, you're breaking the law.
Oh. I have that
bookkeeping. One. Good.
I have it. At least for one of the things I can say I've got it.
Then you need a bookkeeping tool, whether it's a spreadsheet or accountancy software. You're saving 30% into your saving account. You've got a routine in place. So you sit down on monthly, weekly basis. Don't do it any less often than quarterly. That's just ridiculous. I think even quarterly is a big stretch. So I've got clients who do it weekly. I've got clients who do it monthly. I've got clients who don't do it at all, and then they regret it. As much as I can, remind. I think in that case, what I suggest is, I haven't got it one right here, or maybe I do. You need one of them little Post-its. One of them little ones. If you can see it, okay? It's a post. That's a little sticky note. And you write bookkeeping on there. And you stick it, say, my bank statement's run from the 7th of each month. So by the time it comes to the 10th, I've got the bank statement. Or you can just do it online and just look at your bank statement while you do it, okay? You don't let your bank statement date dictate where you do your bank account, your accounts. Have it open, but you need to just have that in your diary, as in written there, and nothing moves it. Or you need to have a contingency plan. So if something does move it, if there is an important client that you need to talk to, that you've been dying to talk to for a month, then you need to move it. Obviously, I get that.
Yeah.
But then you need to have a contingency plan as to what do you do if something comes in way. But just have that little post-it and put it in your diary.
Yeah.
Harold,
The important
now.
thing is to do the accounts and be on top of our books.
Yes, definitely. Monthly, I'd say, so you're on top of it. So, if somebody, or even for yourself, 3 months into your business, it's good to have a look at your accounts as to where you're at, how your business has been doing, what's been profitable, what hasn't, whether you want to change your strategy or not, or, where you're at, really.
Yeah.
And we covered login as well.
Yeah.
So we covered our 5 tips to a smooth tax return. And now, I don't know, how are we doing with time? How much time do we have?
We're doing all right. I would like you to help us understand the tax exemptions for people who are just starting out on their business journey. So you said 30% to be kept away in a separate savings account so that taxes can be covered. What if people are in a place where they aren't getting so much money because they are just starting out or they haven't got the sales yet? So,
okay. You need to keep an eye on your profits. So while your profits are under 12,500, you don't necessarily need to pay any tax. You will be liable for national insurance. The free threshold is 9,500 at the moment. So if your profits are below that, then you could potentially still be saving 30%. But you can use it for different things if that's the case. You might have some, annual fees that you might need to pay for software. I personally have another saving account for that, just to kind of put away the money that I need for annual fees, so it's ready when it comes to it. I'm not very big on credit. I'd say still do it to get yourself in a habit of it. Even if it's £1, £10, £50, I'd say get in a habit, because it's really good to get those important habits kind of embedded under your skin. So when it comes to it, you are already on top of it.
I like that.
That would just be my suggestion. If you can't, because what sometimes happens is people sort of not doing it, thinking, oh yeah, I haven't made my 12,500. But then it comes to the year end, and then suddenly, they're hit with £1,000 bill, and they haven't really accounted for, because they either haven't been on top of it, or they were underestimating their profits, or there might be XYZ other reasons. They suddenly had a big bill coming in and they had to spend it right away. There's a couple of there's a bunch of other reasons. But I think I'm a strong believer in embedding those sort of habits straight from day one to really help you long run. And don't forget to pay yourself, even if it's just £1, pay yourself something, because you need to reward yourself.
So how do we pay ourselves? So if I have a business account, do I just do an online transfer of, say, £100 or £1,000 or £5,000, whatever that amount is, into my personal account?
Okay. Being a sole trader, paying yourself is not an expense. So you will still need to kind of account for it in your income, but you can't put it under your expenses. But how you actually pay yourself, yes, that's exactly what you do. You go into the business bank account, the personal bank account used for business, and you just make a bank transfer into your personal account that you use for your personal finances. That's exactly what you do.
Okay.
As a limited company, that sort of thing usually happens via payroll. It can be quite complex if, I don't know what the audience is, whether it's more sole trader heavy or more limited heavy.
I think we have both kinds of people here.
Both. So for limited companies, you do it through payroll. There is a the tax-free allowance is usually accounted for when it comes to payroll, and then the rest of it, if you pay yourself, say, £2,000 a month, the 700, I think 30 at the moment, will be done through payroll, while the other part would be done via dividends. So it sort of saves tax that way a little bit, to just really give those directors a bit more advantage, I suppose.
Yeah.
But again, that's exactly what you do. You do a bank transfer from one account to another.
Yeah. So if you're the only employee working in your limited company, must you have a payroll? No. Can you not just pay yourself through dividends?
No. You could. No, the best way to do it if you are a limited company is to, yes, set up a payroll. And the reason for that is, first, you're telling HMRC that you are working, that you've got yes, you are registered and you do your yearly accounts, but it's just a really good track record with HMRC when it comes to kind of, payroll and RTI. So they've got their details and they know of you in a good way. It's also very good to save on tax, and by running payroll for that one director at the minimum amount, usually it really it gives you your statutory advantage as well. So you still have access to state pension, you still have access to statutory maternity, paternity, all of these little things.
Gotcha. Got it. So the key takeaway here is, if you are a limited company, make sure that you have a payroll running, even if you are the only employee in your company.
Yeah,
so is this something that is to be set up by your accountant, or can you do it yourself?
You can do it yourself. There is no, I know, like in Spain, I heard that every time you use, everybody who sets up their own limited companies in Spanish terms, by law, you need an accountant. In England, this rule is a bit more flexible, I suppose, because there is no such a rule. It's not done by, it's not told, they're not telling you by law that you must have an accountant. If you are accounts savvy and you know roughly where to find things and you've done your research, you can totally do it yourself. There is a lot to it. That's why accountants study for it and offer the services. So whoever does it themselves must have either had one-to-one with an accountant or have done a lot of research and a lot of calls to HMRC to make sure that they're doing it right. Because the consequences if things are not right, I just had a phone call from someone, and the lady, she now signed up with us, and one of the many questions I've asked her, every time I've got a phone call with someone, with potential client, I've got a list of questions just to see really where they're at. And one of them questions was, when did you set up your business? She said, 2018. I was like, okay, brilliant. Have you got a payroll set up? No. Should I? And I'm like, oh. I was like, okay, you're costing yourself a lot of money on tax, so let's set you up on payroll, and we can actually save you a penny or two on tax. Because what happens when you don't run it on tax, on dividends, you can't necessarily expense your dividends, but you can expense payroll. Okay, so that's reducing your corporation tax, which is bonus one. And by not putting all your pay on via payroll as well, is you save yourself, because dividends are 7.5%, whereas payroll, like basic taxpayer, is 20%. So you're saving yourself, 13% there.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other, reasons. But that's really important that you do when you start a limited company, that you ask the question, do I need a payroll? And 99% of the time is yes.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, so having a payroll is a must if you are a limited company, and irrespective of whether somebody is a sole trader or a limited company, make sure that you have enough fund to take care of the tax and put it away so that you don't find yourself in trouble when it is time to pay the tax man or the tax woman.
Exactly. That's it. I mean, quite a few tips that I have for sole traders is what we were saying at the beginning, those 5 reasons why to do your tax return in June. I'm a strong believer of being ahead of yourself. So my June would be, or my mission is to make June the new sexy, to make sure that people do their tax returns in June rather than waiting it to the last minute. And my 5 reasons, there is more reasons, but I sort of wrapped it all up into 5. And first of all, if you have children, June is before the school breaks for holidays. So you potentially still have time to get it done while they're still at school. Summer holidays would be an absolute wipeout. You can't do anything. It's a tough one to do anything while children are, like, when you did homeschooling, it's a tough one to juggle it all. So, be kind to yourself. Do it in June before the school breaks. If you are self-employed as well as employed, and I think many of us are, by June, you should have your P60 from your employer, in which case you can just have you can include the data. You'll need to include the data in your tax return. And by June, if it's 1st of June, because the employers, some employees send it early, like beginning of April. Some leave it to the last minute, and the last minute, the deadline is end of May. So by 1st of June, you should have your P60. Once it's done, you can then have a party during your holidays, as well as Christmas. How amazing is that? Who wants to have a party at Christmas and New Year's without having to think about tax return? I do. Okay, I do. It's still fresh in your mind as well. So not only you do it on monthly, you then doing it in June, you just wrap it all up nicely. You don't have to submit it, but as long as it's done, you don't actually have to submit and pay until end of January. So if there is something else that may have popped into your mind, since June, say in October, you can still go back and amend it. So you don't have to submit it, but it's still fresh in your mind. And the last one is, if you've been saving money for the tax return, but say you haven't got enough, or maybe you haven't been saving anything, you then still have 6 months to put the money together. Those are your 5 reasons why to do a tax return in June.
Sexy enough, I would say.
I think so. I think so. It just wants you. I think this is the sort of things when you do, you just sort of, put a spring in your step. You're just like, oh my God, the weight just shifted from your shoulders, and just like, oh, it's done. Oh, how easy was that?
Yeah. No, I agree completely. When the books are done, when the accounting is done on time, it is such a weight lifted off our shoulders.
Exactly. And I think because December and January are such busy periods for accountants, and if you then decide, oh, I can't do it, it's just too much, let's just call an accountant and they'll just have it done in a jiffy. Okay, yes, they'll have it done in a jiffy, but some accountants, they might charge you extra, or they might say, no, I'm too busy. I know accountants who stop doing anything end of November, and they just give themselves December, January free because they don't want to deal with the stress of those latecomers. Okay, just don't, what are you waiting for? Seriously, what are you waiting for? Just get it done as soon as done.
It's like makes dentist. A lot of sense. Yeah,
it's like dentist. If your tooth hurts, you're not gonna wait a month or 6 months to get it sorted. No, you'll call the dentist and you dead in like the next day.
And you should wait until your tooth hurts.
That's it.
Go and see a dentist before that.
Brush your teeth regularly. That's it.
I like that.
It's exactly it.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. So tell us, Yarka, how can people work with you?
I'm running a 5-day challenge, 7th of June. So it's in 2 weeks' time, and it's free. Okay, get that. It's totally, utterly free. And as sexy accountants, I'm sexy. as I do like to take people through a journey to understand their numbers in a very kind of casual way. And those 5 days are, there is first thing in the morning, you get a 10-minute clip with a task. Then there is a Q&A in the middle of the day. And then I go live in the evening to develop and give you some more information. A lot of it we've actually covered today already. So, it will just be a nice recap. And there are some downloads, we do audits. And your giveaway from the 5-day challenge is to be able to sit back and have a routine in place and just feeling in control of your accounts rather than accounts having control of you. And I think a lot of business owners feel very overwhelmed by doing their accounts. And doing the 5-day challenge, you'll be in control, you'll be a lot more at ease. It will be broken up so in such bite sizes, then you may potentially be able to, get back in touch with your accounts within that week.
Yeah.
And it's job done. Then you just need to keep on top of it.
Yeah.
So I think that challenge has a very good effect on people to just sit back and go, oh, that's done. And without stress. Some people drink wine, some people drink whiskey. I drink usually a cup of tea or glass of water in the evenings. But I guess, glass of vodka with orange juice may spice things up a little. Puts a rosy cheeks on my face. But so that's 5-day challenge. That starts on 7th of June.
Yeah.
I also offer a one-to-one with me. If you are on a verge of, or you're not sure about whether you should be registering as a sole trader or a limited company, that one-to-one pretty much takes you through the journey of looking at your income and expenses and see roughly where you're at. And we do a calculator as well to just really show you the pictures to how much money you could potentially save if you are at the point to become a limited company, how much money you can actually save by becoming a limited company, and that's £99. And there is a bunch of other things. If you fancy having a tax return done by an accountant or your year-end accounts looked at, we can totally take care of that as well.
All right, so you have something for everyone.
Yes, I mean, when it comes to accounts, my mission is predominantly to reach those sole traders and limited companies who have never talked to an accountant or they do it themselves. That's my mission. Okay, I'm definitely here for you 100%. I'm obviously here for other clients as well, 100%, just on other, I suppose, level. But I'd like to kind of offer to be the one-stop shop for any business when it comes to their finances, whether it's payroll, VAT, year-end accounts, or even cash flow and some tax planning as well. Because I think a lot of people, rather than going to different ones, it may be quite daunting talking to more than one accountant at a time. Once you build a relationship, you don't necessarily want to be going to another accountant, build another relationship. You just want to stick to that one person if they can do it all, which we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And as part of your services, do you also help people save tax when they make investments?
That's one thing we don't do as in pensions or investments, but doing all the networking that I've been doing the past year, I could most definitely recommend other business owners who deal with pensions, because there are things that as accountants we can't necessarily advise on just because of licensing and insurance purposes. But we can definitely recommend people that we've been working with in past to really help you. If you want to invest or if you decide to sell your business eventually, we can point you to a direction where they'll be able to help you. You're mute.
As far as saving tax or managing tax is concerned from investments, that's something you take care of.
Yes, yeah. I mean, when it comes to, because we do the tax planning, so when we look at your year-end accounts, for example, and your dividends and kind of see how we can creatively save you on tax, say, okay, have you got pension in place? No. Okay, here is a contact number to talk to someone about pension because you need one. This is what it can do for you. It can reduce your tax. It may not necessarily come in as an expense, but it would increase the tax-free allowance, or the higher, once you are in the higher taxpayer band, it will increase how much, the 20% band, if I kind of simplify it. So it's not going to increase your expenses that way, but it will allow more for the lower tax kind of being charged.
Got it.
So
Wow.
it's quite complex, the whole tax system, and I'm trying to if there's anybody who don't really get what I'm talking about, just get in touch. Okay, we can have a one-to-one. Happy to.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do. Yeah. People, if you need help with taxes, or if you just want more clarity, or if you want to make life easier by
Absolutely.
having a qualified accountant take care of things for you, get in touch with Yarka.
Get in touch, free of charge. Have a little chat as to where your business is at, giving you some pointers as to where you should be or could be, and yeah, we go from there. But don't be afraid. Just call me, text me, messenger me, LinkedIn me. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, and I'm just about to go on Pinterest. I'm a bit scared of Pinterest, I have to say.
God, too many platforms for us.
There is.
So when we finish, Yarka, will you be kind enough to leave all your links just underneath this video so that we have everything in one place?
Absolutely.
Great. Yarka, thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. It's been such an enlightening conversation.
I'll be quite curious to see if there are any questions. Just send them my way. I'd be intrigued. I'm happy to answer every single one.
At the moment, incidentally, we don't have a live audience today, but I'm sure there are a lot of people who are going to catch us up on the replay. And and taxes is something each one of us needs to do. So
yeah, it doesn't go away, I'm afraid. So ask while you have the opportunity.
Yeah. Yarka, thank you so much for coming and talking to us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. It's been great. Thank you very much.